And just like that, we're live on a Thursday
Just
night.
like that.
Good evening, Pastor Roger Wade. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Pastor Paul. It's good to hang with you on a Thursday night
Thursday night. What?
as we prepare for this weekend's Pastors Roundtable. I want to welcome everyone for joining us. Those of you who are on right now, just put in the chat where you're joining us from. I know it's early than what we normally do on Fridays, but we want to just jump on and just share a little bit about what's coming up on tomorrow and give you a little preview, a little insight into tomorrow's show. So just share with us where you're coming from, where you're watching us from, and even in the replay, you can still do that.
That's
We
right.
will definitely pick that up, and we'll be thankful for you for joining us.
Good stuff. I see we've got a few that are joining us. Why don't you go ahead and share this promo as well? We're just really talking to you about what's coming up on tomorrow night. Some of you saw our promo earlier in the week, but for those of you who didn't, we are going to be right back here at it again. Our fellow co-host will be with us on tomorrow night, Dr. Dion Henry. So we're excited about all three of us being back together again on tomorrow night. But for tonight, you are unstuck with just Pastor Wade and myself. We want to welcome Maggie Reese, who's joining us tonight on YouTube, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
I used to live in
That's a
Nashville.
good
Did I say
place.
that?
That's a good place.
Yeah, it's a good place. Good place. That's where I saw my first snow, was in Nashville, Tennessee. I was in 10th grade, and now I'm a Florida boy. For those of you who don't know, grew up in Florida, Central Florida, my entire life. I got up to Nashville, my 10th grade year of high school. Got up one morning, there was snow outside. I was so excited, I went out barefoot in pajamas, walking around in the snow, just like a Florida boy would.
And he has not seen snow since.
Well, except for those those Michigan years.
Yes. They can change your mind. But listen, Pastor Paul, what exactly are we dealing with on tomorrow night? I think it's going to be a very intriguing conversation. What is it we're dealing with on tomorrow?
Risky business, baby. We're talking about risky business. The business of ministry does impose risk.
Right.
So if you're part of a church school, if you're part of a church, if you're part of any ministry, if you just have a house and you're alive, there's some risk. But we have, the Seventh-day Adventist Church has an entity that deals with helping us at the local church level, at the conference level, union level, division level, and even ministry level within inside of the church, helping us manage those risks. Those risks can end up costing churches and church organizations lots and lots of money if they are not managed well. And Roger, some folk can say, well, yeah, it costs a lot of money and whatnot, but we need to figure that out or get rid of that because, well, and there can be a plethora of reasons behind that. But the challenge is this: if we're spending all of our money on risk that could have been avoided, it pulls away from the amount of money that we could put into your, whatever your ministry is, whether it's women's ministry, children's ministry, Pathfinders, church building programs, schools, our textbooks, our furniture, upgrading our facilities. Those are things that oftentimes the church ends up spending millions and millions upon millions, and I'm not exaggerating this, and millions of dollars dealing with lawsuits that pertain to risk, many of which could have been avoided had our people and had information on how to avoid those risks. So we're going to be spending some time talking about that not this evening, but on tomorrow evening. Who do we have with us, Pastor Wade, coming to have a discussion with us tomorrow night?
I just want to piggyback and share with you the uniqueness of the Seventh Adventist Church. We realize that minimizing risk, because we can't do away with the risk, minimizing risk, it involves having a unique entity to help us with that. So the Seventh Adventist Church started what is called its own insurance company, Adventist Risk. And we will have with us the CEO of Adventist Risk, who will be with us to share some insights, have those crucial conversations as to risks in the church, along with its members and its employees.
That's right.
We're going to have that kind of discussion on tomorrow. Some of you are probably wondering what risks are there in a church, but we don't realize the impact that risks have. One of the biggest one. As you know, I serve at a conference level, and I do hear certain things. There are churches who sometimes are swindled out of dollars.
That's right.
Out of their bank accounts. And these sometimes they're well-meaning people, but I guess you can't be well-meaning and hurting others. But risk means what are we doing to protect ourselves from these things? How we minimize these things? And so Adventist risk helps us with that. Helps us with making sure that our young people are safe. Put policies in place to help our young people and help ensure them, when they travel, when our Pathfinder ministry travels, our youth ministries travels, there is insurance that is provided by the church just in case something happens.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have a good conversation on tomorrow. Hopefully, it will bring new insight to you as a member of the pew, maybe even you as an employee, as to how much this church loves to make sure that ministry continues, but that its members are protected.
Roger, I don't know if you figured this out yet, but I like to ask questions. I like to ask sometimes some challenging questions and maybe some questions that folk don't like to hear. I love doing that. Not because I'm just trying to be controversial or whatever, but because I think we need to know some of these answers. Sometimes every now and then people are afraid to ask the questions because they are afraid of the answers. And I think we're in an age now where our people, we need transparency. Your generation, my generation, we started moving away from some of those generations in the past that kind of was okay with everybody not knowing everything. And sometimes just, you give them just a bit of enough information to keep them happy and keep the tithe coming in. But you don't, and it's like, yeah. And then sometimes later down the road, some stuff comes to light that was not exposed that would have allowed people to have made different decisions and choices had they known. And so hopefully in the process of this, and just what we do here at Pastors Roundtable, which we seek to be relevant, resourced, and then there's that last one, and to be real with this stuff. So. And we want to invite you to join us in that. Every time we have a program, we invite you to put your questions in and put your questions up. When we come before a program like tonight and do a promo, some of you may have some questions even now, or things that you're curious about that you want to throw in the chat or throw in the page, whether you're on the Facebook group page or the Facebook page. That's funny. I think that's what it's called. It's just a page. So the page or the group page, there's two places you can connect with us on Facebook. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, you can go ahead and put a question in the YouTube chat, whether it is the live chat or in the comment section on a video like this. Hopefully we'll be able to dig back through and find it before the show. Your best bet, though, is probably throwing it up on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
is that right? Is that make
yes, that's right.
Okay.
And even if if you're not sure, you can always email us at the pastorsrt at gmail.com, or even tonight you can drop it into the comments even after this show is done or this promo is done. And we will definitely give it some attention and maybe even answer the question online. If not, we will definitely make sure that your questions are answered as we follow through on the chat. So this is the place to get the information. This is the place to ask the question, the crucial questions that you were probably wondering. Why this happened? Why do we do this? Why does our church not do certain things based on insurance and based on how we operate? So tomorrow's discussion is going to be a good one.
Yeah, here's a for instance, and I know that I'm usually kind of the odd guy out on some of these issues, but I remember a time when risk management, we were planning a mission trip to a certain country, and things seemed to get a little, what's the word? it was unsettled. There was some unsettlement in the country, and risk management told us that we couldn't go. Or this group, I don't know if I was really a part of it, but said the group could not go. Um, and if you got a mind like mine, you were thinking, wow, we can't go on a
Why?
mission trip? What? And because of the unrest, it's going like there's what we were going to do is needed more now
Right.
than it was before. And how can we say that we are not going to engage mission simply because there's a little bit of risk? And you know, I started making these comments, these I don't know if I made them comments, but in my head I'm thinking like, what if people came to Jesus, the angels came to Jesus and said, Jesus, you can't go down there. They might kill you
Right.
if you go
Right.
down there. It might not be safe for you down there. Now, that's a little exaggerated in terms of people are saying, yeah, well, we're not Jesus, and those are my kids. You talking about going over there and putting them in harm's way, et cetera, et cetera. And those are some very legitimate concerns.
Yep.
And so those are things that I know some people have questions like I question, but there are answers to those questions. And so we hope to be able to dig into some of those things. Some of the things we talked about on the other night, issues about sexual predators in the church. That's one of the areas where we spend a whole lot of money in lawsuits over, whether it's teacher in a school, a pastor in a pulpit, a youth leader in a church. Lots of different issues that are concerning there. So not just what are some of the precautions that we can take to prevent, but then what are some of the repercussions that take
Right.
place on the back end? How do we deal with those circumstances and situations once they come to light? Is there clarity? Is there uniformity? Is there transparency in those processes? So we hope to be able to deal with some of those as well with our guest on tomorrow night.
That is true. That's true. I saw someone said there's an echo. I hope I've eliminated the echo. We want you to know that on tomorrow, you will be able to talk directly to the head honcho, the one in charge that helps our churches be safe. You know, another big area where our risk management comes into play with our disasters that had plagued communities and even plague our churches in terms of churches that are just destroyed. We had that happen this year, I believe, in Mississippi. A tornado came through and flattened
Mm.
the church. And since then, this church has decided that they are not going to stay in that area. They're actually going to rebuild a center of influence, and they're actually merging with another congregation from our conference that's a little closer. And so they're going to kind of rebuild ministry, but risk management was able to help in that, in terms of the
Wow.
insurance that we had, the foresight they had to make sure the building was insured. So we're gonna tap into areas that some of us don't think about when it comes to church operations on the risk side, the risks of taking risk or risk
Uh,
taking.
there you go. Good. All right. I want to check. I want to just kind of that echo. You know, we do this live, so this isn't pre-recorded, so we can't go back and fix stuff in post and whatnot. So, our pastor. How would we say that? Pastors round tables
Mm-hmm.
are all live production. So I'm curious to see if that echo is still there. So those of you that are watching,
Says
if
it's
you still
much
hear
better now, so
better,
that's
okay,
that's a good thing.
because I
Has
wasn't
has
hearing it at
lowered the
all
levels.
before.
Were you hearing it at all?
No, I didn't hear it at all on my end. But I'm looking at the chat, going to see if somebody's going to help us out. Oh, there we go. Pastor Wade sounds much better. There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
All right, Doc. Anything else we need to share tonight?
Well, listen, as we get ready for tomorrow, make sure you share it. We have shared it on our social media pages. Make sure you share it with your network, so that they'll be ready to see us here at 9 o'clock tomorrow Eastern. And we look forward to the conversation, and we look forward to you being here with us on the conversation. We have had some good conversations the last couple of Fridays, and we want to continue that as we plow ahead to finish up this wonderful season of Pastors Roundtable.
All right. Sounds good. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Come along and bring a friend.
And as we'd say, we're so glad you have joined us or partnered with us to help make ministries relevant,
resourced,
and real.
Blessings, everybody.
Good night.